Man, I'm hungry. And that's one way to start this out. So, DMC Definitive, DMC 5, DMC Prequel, Dante's Donkey Space Adventures, whichever you want to call it. That's what we're talking about here today. You know, because recently I just finished that and I was playing it on stream and I thought this would be something good to talk about. So, yep, we're talking about it. Donkey Space Dantes. What's up, cereal bowls? It's your favorite crazy cereal, InsaneAppleJackz, here once again with the Atomic Game Squad for another super duper video. You're like, what? You haven't even started. How are you going to claim that? I'm like, well, I messed up and I kind of don't want to restart. But anyways, how are you all doing? Because I'm doing super duper chill. Hopefully you all are doing well as well. And you know, that little prelude intro, hopefully it alluded that today we're talking about Devil May Cry. And you're like, oh yeah, it's Devil May Cry. And specifically we're talking about the definitive edition. Woo! And you're like, what? Well, you know, I've heard a bunch of mixed reviews from everybody in the community from when I was sitting up here playing it, and you had everybody like, yeah! And then you had some people over here like, nah, bruh, nah. So, we're gonna get into this, and you know, you just gotta sit up here and sit back, relax, and enjoy the devil, demon, monster, hunting, hungry food. Anyways, so DMC is the 5th game in the series. For those of you that don't know, you know, DMC 1, you know, that OG one that we have to put a 1 in front of now so we don't sit up here and confuse DMC with DMC. Oh my god! DMC 2, DMC 3, DMC 4, and then just DMC. Cause you had to be the hipster, brother. And with DMC being the 5th game in the series, it's also a prequel. Now, you're like, a prequel? It's the 5th game, but it's a prequel? Come on, guys. But, you know, this was during a time where everybody was coming out with prequels. You had your God of Wars, you had your Bioshocks, you had your... well, that's all I can think of off the top of the head, but essentially this game was initially released for the PS3 and 360 and Windows, and this initial release happened during January of 2013. And you're like, well, why are you talking about it now? Apple, why are you talking about it now? Well, that's why we're talking about the Definitive Edition, which is also the remaster for the PS3 and the Xbone, for the PS4 and the Xbone. My tongue, it won't work for this for some reason. And in this remaster, you get the prettier graphics, you get the extra content and all that goodness, but it was a re-release to sit up here and give people that didn't still have the PS3 or the Xbox 360 the ability to play this game. Now, this masterpiece sat up here and relaunched itself, coming out 2 years after the initial release, and that was later in 2015. I believe it came out in March. To be more specific, if you like facts and knowledge and logical things like that. And, you know, now, before anybody gets too worried about this, I'm gonna sit up here and warn you about spoilers if I do jump into any spoilers, but probably not. I might sit up here and warrant another video just for spoilers to separate it if I see so fit. But, you know, who knows what the future holds. So, essentially, let's just jump into the plot background goodness of what DMC is and give you all the information. In DMC, we're sitting up here playing once again in the shoes of our favorite main character, Dante. And you're like, Dante? Yes, Dante. But really, who else would you be playing? Virgil. Virgil. I mean, he's only the world's favorite pizza-loving girl getting demon-hunting demon, Dante. Demon-hunting demon, Dante. Yes, demon-hunting demon. You know, the point being here, he's the one, the only Dante. You have to sit up here and, enjoy that. Virgil. Anyways, you sit up here and you're not only playing as Dante, but you're playing as younger Dante, and you're like, younger Dante? And this was the thing that everybody was really angry about, because a lot of people didn't like the redesign and all this other stuff, and they're like, you're changing it, you're ruining him. But, you know, overall, if we can get into this beforehand, I'd say I really think that younger Dante fits the game that he was made for, as well as old school, old style Dante, as everybody would call him, really fits the game that he was made for. And I'll get more into that when we get to the actual art portion of this review, but let's just keep it rolling. Now, this time around, we're focusing really on the fact of him being a Nephilim. There we go. Well, let's just explain it. He's half demon, he's half angel, and he sits up here and he comes together to make a mixed angel. Baby, you're like a dangel. What's a dangel? It's part demon, part angel. I just explained it. Why can't you just say Nephilim? I think I know what a Nephilim is. Are you sure, sir? I'm sorry. Anyways. In this one, Dante must team up with his twin brother, Virgil, who's also a Nephilim, 2 for the price of 1. You're like, what? As well as Virgil's assistant, Cat. Yeah, Cat. Hey, meow. That girl was fine. She is fine. And in this partnership, they must sit up here and take down Mundus. Now you're like, who's Mundus? And I'm like, yeah, Mundus. You're like, what? Mundus? Mundus. Who is the uncle to Dante and Virgil? Now, mind you, you're like, Apple! Spoilers! And I'm like, well, see, it's kind of something that they reveal to you in, like, their first 2 sections. So, joke's on you. Let me stop. And, you know, the real reason that you have to sit up here and kill up Uncle Mundus is, you know, for revenge purposes. The vengeance and killing. And this revenge is due to Mundus sitting up here killing Eva, the mother of Dante and Virgil, as well as imprisoning their father, Sparta, to a lifetime of suffering and pain inside of, you know, different dimensions, banishing him. All types of craziness. And then you have the undertone plot of it being about helping humanity. Because what would be a giant demon world gladiator colliding game be without, you know, the extent of learning to protect humanity? You're just up here like, blah, 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 blah. So, that's pretty much the basics to the background of the story. Now, like, the real question here is, how does it look, though? Because if I go any further into this, then I give you too many spoilers. Overall, I think this game is a really beautiful looking game. And it's like, yes! Oh my god, super color pop, super beautiful. It's amazing looking in every sense of the way. It's very clean. It just has this nice pop icon style about it, where it's very colorful in the places that it wants to be colorful in, but it has those toned back areas of original, like, Devil May Cry, where the grays and the heavy, dark, gothic colors come in at certain areas where you really want to accentuate the look of an area. And, mostly the reasoning for this heavy color shift and focus is because of how it becomes a major factor in your actual fighting, with it being like, oh yeah, you have to use this certain item or this certain skill here, and you can tell because the character is this color, or he does a move that is this color, and you're like, oh, okay, thanks game. Thanks for sitting up here and breaking my flow. But I now know that color coordination with weapons is beautiful, and yeah! But it's a lot brighter, it's a lot different than the older PS2 versions and counterparts of the game, but, you know, we don't talk about that dark era of gaming when everything was gray-toned, because gray-tone! And, you know, overall, I could say the enemies in this one, they have a really nice look to them. When you first encounter them, it's like, oh, yeah. And they're not really groundbreakingly like, yeah. Every time you see them, like, it's not anything you haven't seen before, but they just have a style that really fits with the game that makes you like, oh, yeah. when you see them, and it's like, yeah! And, you know, you have the occasional one that's like, yeah! Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Now, as far as combat goes, to keep it moving off that art stuff, and, you know, perfectly segue over, because we were talking about some of the combat while in the art section, is the fact that in this one, it's a hack and slash, as usual. It's a hack and slash as usual, so you know the combat's very fluent, and you're like, that doesn't mean that, Apple. Well, it's a must if you want to sit up here and make a hack and slash, but I can say this much, it is very fluent in the overall sense, but I'll tell you why it's kind of janky in one sense or another while getting into this. So, essentially, the focus of the angel and demon side really comes into play in the overall combat, where you have to sit up here and focus based on the type of enemy that you're fighting and have color coordination and fight them with only specific sides of the weapons by holding either trigger, which sits up here and puts you into combos with that weapon based on your square or triangle button. And, you know, that's cool. That's a really nice concept. I like it, but the issue comes when they sit up here and they have a ranking system in the game, and the ranking system is on a D to S, triple S rank, and you have to sit up here and get ranks in order to get score to rank your overall performance in the mission. But, you know, if you do a move too often, then you sit up here and you get a lower score. But if that's the only thing that affects the character that you're fighting, it's like, come on, bruh. Come on, bro. This is the only thing that's effective against him. Don't do this to me. Why you do this? Oh, okay. Now, essentially, I will say, at the same time, this is a very good mechanic because it'll let you avoid a lot of BS when it comes to certain enemies if you're sitting up here and you're always conscious of what they are and how to sit up here and avoid things. And it's just like, okay, well, I like this on one side of the spectrum, but on the other side of the spectrum, it's like, I just want to punch things. It's a hack and slash. I don't want to think that hard. And then you're like, well, but it's a hack and slash. And some, and, you know, it only really annoyed me once or twice through the actual playthrough. Overall, it wasn't that invasive, but it was a thing that when you noticed it getting on your nerves. But overall, it was a fun, nice, smooth, fluent, you know, playthrough. And no, say more about the actual ranking system. The ranking system itself was kind of like meh, because at certain points it's like, yeah, it's clear-cut, obvious, this is what you have to do to get the highest rank, and I think I got, like, S ranks 5 times out of the game, but, like, finished with S ranks for combat style overall 5 times out the game, but, you know, like, your overall rank for the end of the mission is based off your combat style, and it's based off your deaths and completion of the level and how many items you use, and it all just comes together, and it's like, well, which is why it's kind of like, yeah, it's cool, but the jankster part being the fact of how many weapons you actually have and what you can do with combos and which side you're on, and sometimes you just get really repetitive in your actual movement, no matter how creative you want to be, because a certain enemy will only take a certain type of attack. Moving on, you're like, really, guy? You're like, really, guy? So, I really don't think this is the right territory to throw the spoilers, only because we're getting past a certain time mark, and it's like, well, at this point I could just make the second video and have my complaints about that stuff that gets more in detail with the spoilers there, and just sit up here and overall rank it. So, without any spoilers, if you want to sit up here and have an actual, you know, full-on review score of what this is, out of 10, I give this game a 9.3. Despite it having some areas that are kind of annoying, I will sit up here and write that off as me playing on the Nymphal difficulty, which is the equivalent to hard for this game, and, you know, not playing a DMC for a while. I will write some of that off as it being me jumping in and being like, okay. On the other hand, I will say some areas it's like, as far as like the platforming getting on my nerves and other areas like that, where it's like, okay, I kind of see it, but this is just an overall issue that kind of annoyed me. So it could have been a perfect game, Kappa. It could have been a perfect game, but I also don't believe this game deserves as much ish as everybody gives it. Because when it first came out, everybody's like, yeah! In all actuality, it's a very fun, fast-paced game with about 20 missions, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, depending on how hard of a difficulty you're playing through, you can extend your gameplay yourself. There's also the mode that's an arena mode, which doesn't extend the life too much. It sits up here and stands as a game that you can probably beat in a day if you're really determined, but overall it's a good hack and slash. It's a good addition into the DMC franchise series, Apogee, Prologue, WD-40, whatever you want to say. And I say that you should overall give it a try. It's worth the shot. But yeah, that's all I really have to say for this one. I'll send you guys over to the end of the box and we'll call it. And we are back at the end of the box where we just sat up here and finished another super duper amazing video. This time we were talking about those dang macho cats. Dang macho cats. I mean, Devil May Cry. I'm sorry. I got confused, confungled. All this craziness, crazy demon fun. Anyways, big thumbs up to everybody that watched this video, and super duper big thumbs up to everybody that watched this video all the way through. I appreciate you guys for sitting up here and checking it out. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, be sure to give it a thumbs down. Let me know. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below inside of the comment section and just say hello. Whatever. Did you play DMC? Did you sit up here and enjoy it yourself? Let me know what's on your mind, and you know, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. As always, my social media tab thing is on screen. Kappa, insert Kappa. Still don't know how to do annotations, so the links are down below if you actually want the clickable links and information that way. But yeah, that's all I really have to say this one. So munch, peace out, and that's a wrap. Yump.